G'day, Westy here. Okay, I've done about 13 hours of flying and landing and mucking around of real time. There's a couple of things, yeah, so I am getting used to it. So this is just a bit of an example of what I'm doing. I can't promise it's going to be any good. So it's actually what I've figured out is, so if you find yourself dropping out of the sky, and see how the fourth gauge from the left is dropping at -10. If I pull up, you can see the black line on the third gauge from the left actually lines up, and then I start rising again without actually changing my collective position, and that's basically getting the attitude of the aircraft and back into the lift zone. So I've figured that out. Probably easy for all of you guys. So I'm just going to turn in on final, and yeah, that sounds all pro. And I'm just going to try and demonstrate. Hopefully, I'm going to cruise into the runway here. Oh, okay, maybe not. And I'm going to hopefully, without crashing, I'll jump in here. And I'm hopefully going to demonstrate flying it, dropping in at full speed, so I'm doing like 250 kilometers, and changing to transitional, and then so I've dropped the collective fully. I'm trying to lower the speed down. I'm at 28 meters off the ground, second gauge, and I need to get down to around, I'll just pull up a little bit more. I want to get to around 50 knots, and now I can lower the nose and I can lift it up. So I actually stopped. I shouldn't have stopped. I was actually a bit late. But around about 50 knots, you should be trying to level out and then bring it into a hover. I've got it under control now. So I'm about 8 meters off the ground. I'm just going to try and aim into the taxiway. So I'm not that good, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was 13 hours ago. And this is using the HOTAS X52. And pretty much the movement you see on the little guy there in front of you, on the cyclic, between my legs, that is the amount of movement I'm moving on the actual cyclic on my HOTAS X52, and that took a bit of setting up. I'm going to do a video on that. So I'm also quickly looking at my shadow, but the third gauge is real good for checking to see how far off. So I'm actually nose down. The black lines come above the W. I'm actually nose down a little bit, so I can. Yeah, it takes a lot of concentration too. It's harder when you're talking and trying to do everything at once. I don't have any rudder pedals, but as you can see, my hover's pretty stable. So I'm just going to move off and taxi down here a little bit. I don't have any rudder pedals yet, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of nose forward, lower the collective a little bit, and then just kind of play with the collective at the same time. I know I'm not on the taxiway 100%. Okay, I'll move over. Right. So yeah, I'm trying to maintain 3 to 5 meters above the ground, and I'm trying not to exceed 50 knots. So this is how I've been training myself to kind of gain control of the helicopter, because anybody can fly straight at a high speed, but trying to maintain the same altitude at about 2 to 5 meters. So I've lost a little bit of training of my train of thought here, lost a bit of concentration, but I'm just easing the helicopter forward, like nursing it along, because you have got a lot of power there if you need it, and you don't really want to use it unless you have to. So I'm just going to try and land in that square in front of us, about, I don't know, 10 meters in front of us. So I'm sitting at about 1 meter. I'm just nosing it forward. So yeah, 13 hours it's taken me to get to the stage where I can concentrate to that level. So yeah, it's taken a lot of discipline, and basically I've just been practicing just flying around. So practicing my takeoffs. So with this particular helicopter, this is the MH9 Hummingbird, it tends to fly backwards when you lift off without any input, and that's going to prove me wrong. So if I slowly pull up, I start, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, so I just give it a little bit of forward side click and then let go and give it a quick nudge to the back just to get it up again. But it's quite responsive. I'll just nose down a little bit and then pull a little bit of collective, nose down a bit, and quickly you're at 50 knots, 50 kilometers an hour. So I'm going to climb to about, I'll just get around this big pole here, climb to about 30 meters, and there's a yellow H pad up there about where my V is in the white there. Now I'm going to try and guess a flight path to that. So I'm going to lower collective slowly. I'm pulling up on collective now. I'm just trying to nose forward now. I'm going to overshoot. Oh no, wow, actually got it. So I just need to now calm down, let the controls centralize, and then ease my way towards my goal. It takes a lot of concentration. Your eyes are focusing on so many things. But yeah, that's the MH9 Hummingbird. Oh, don't chop your head off on there. But it's a really cool little training heli. It's got, you can carry passengers as well. But yeah, I am slowly getting there. So I'm just practicing basically. Now I've got to wait till it spools down, and I'll do a restart. But I'm basically practicing doing very slow traversing speeds, like taxi speeds, 10 to 15, 20 kilometers an hour. So I'll be able to spool back up again. Okay, collective down. I just need to move. Yeah, that's better. Now I can see. Yeah, I've just moved the mouse to get my gaze when I'm doing groundwork. But this very quickly shows you, I'm only putting in 5 to 10 mil of inputs. As you can see, my cyclic is actually mimicking, it's probably half what I'm actually doing on my stick. But that's all you need to be really doing. You shouldn't be going all the way forward, and you'll get way out of control like that. Okay, checking all my controls. Okay, so now I can take off. I'm going to try and get the building in front of me, just to about 10 o'clock. Just to the right of that, there's an H pad just beside it. So I'm just going to lift off. Oops. Oh. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to lift off and use the rudders. So I don't have any rudder pedals yet. I've just bought some. They're on their way. because I'm hooked. I love this. This is just me, discipline. I remember I learned how to fly RC helicopters exactly the same way. Everybody commented and said, you know, how can you hover that thing so stable and, you know, within a very, very small box of, like, you know, 1 meter. And that's because in the winter time, when I learnt to fly, I basically spent all my time out in the garage with a chalk line square just like this one in front of us, 1 meter by 1 meter, and I'd practice hovering. Look at that, beautiful. That was I couldn't have done that any smoother. So now I'll pick up, spin around. Whoops. Nose forward, pick collective up. A little bit untidy now. You lose your discipline and it gets out of control so quick. But as you can see, I'm basically putting in an input and going back to center, just letting it go back to center naturally, because it will naturally want to go back to center. And now I'm all over the place. So now I'm going to try and line up back to where we were on the yellow H circle. Try not to crash into the building. So it's the old story, everything you look at you will aim towards. So I'm aiming towards the H. I'm giving a bit of peripheral vision to the building to make sure I'm not too close on my rotors. And see, now I've stopped because I've lost concentration. But this is 13 hours I've been doing this, and I'm actually getting way better. I've just got to transfer the muscle memory that I got from using RC heli controllers to this application. And RC was actually a lot harder than this when I really think about it, because once you get really good, you're basically also learning, like first thing is tail in, like we're sitting now, but when you learn the other 4 orientations, nose left, nose right, nose in, all the controls change. But we're good with this, so I'll just pick up here. About 14 meters or so. Nose it forward a little bit of rudder control as it tries to torque as I apply a bit of collective. I'm just nudging the collective up and down a little bit, not giving it a big stab, just nursing it, and that gives me so I'm going a little bit quick. So now I've halved my speed. Just pick a bit more collective. So yeah, so I'm definitely no way an expert, but I just wanted to share my journey on learning how to hover and controlled taxi. You know, trying to maintain you know, within a couple of meters of your height, and obviously trying not to crash. So kind of like, you've kind of got to give it a puff of wind underneath it, if you think about that, which thrusts you forward, and then you can kind of play with it. That's how it feels. Yeah. But I'll do this for hours just to actually learn, and your muscles will automatically, if you see yourself drifting, you'll apply the opposite side of the disc to slow down the drift, and then it will want to come back again, and you've got to be able to. So you're kind of like doing circles. So I'll try and get into the square here. And I'm concentrating quite hard. But this is very, very precise flying. And if anybody of you have done this, you'll know it's not easy. It's not easy. It does take a lot of patience, but getting the controls set up right is the key, and I'm going to do a video on that and show you guys how I've done that if anybody's interested. If anybody wants any other videos, I'm actually really, really hooked into this game at the moment. I love it. It's great. yeah, as I learn, or like I'm learning, I'll try and share my journey with everybody. If anybody's interested, if you're not, if not, then you know just move on. But yeah, so yeah, so if I want to, so yeah, so anyway, I'll just end this video now. So it's probably about 13 point, I don't know, 15 minutes or so I've been doing this. But yeah, so I'll shut down now. But all the gauges are, you start naturally looking at the gauges, but only briefly to get a reference, and then you basically looking at your surroundings to try and get your brain to relate to the two, so you know at a glance, okay, if the black line's above, you know, if the black line in the third gauge on the right, your attitude gauge, the gimbal, if that black line's above the, you know, you'll know what that means and what you have to do to pull back or push forward to get you back on target, because that's where the white line sitting on the black line between the W, that's perfect level attitude for landing. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, thanks for tuning in. Westy over and out.